Hello and welcome to this Granny Diamond tutorial. In this tutorial we will use scissors, a size G 4.00 millimeter crochet hook, a tapestry needle with a large eye in it, and our yarn. This one is by Red Heart Super Saver in the color white. This one I have here is Michael's Impeccable in the color Butterscotch. And my last color that I've chosen is by Lion's Brand Vanna's Choice in the color Fern. I am going to be starting with white yarn, but before I begin our tutorial, I would like to show you what I like to do. I like to pull out extra yarn from my skein so that way I can have uniform looking stitches with equal tension and the proper tension. So I pull out about 3 or 4 feet of yarn and then I'll set it to one side. Another thing I wanted to show you is we will be starting with a magic circle. When starting a magic circle, it's always good to have a long tail. The reason being is because with our needle, when we need it to weave in our ends, we want to make sure we have at least 2 times the length, close to 3, so that when our needle goes through, we have enough for the length of the needle to be woven in behind our stitches, especially on our magic circle. Our magic circle is the foundation of our crochet project, and only using the one strand that we will be using, we want to make sure that it has enough strength to hold up the rest of those stitches that it begins with. So let's get started. As I pointed out, I'm going to pull about 8 inches so I can have it for a tail. Lay it down in front of you, and then I'm right-handed, so I'm going to be placing the yarn in my left hand, and we're going to start with a magic circle. Place it between your finger and your thumb and press it down. Wrap it around your 2 fingers till you have an X. Go ahead and place your thumb on top of that and pick up your hook and go under. Notice that my hook is aiming down. I'm going to grab that yarn and pull it up. Have a little loop. And then I'm going to go take the yarn and pull it through that loop. Okay? Then you notice how the tail kind of made a twist in the circle. So let's go ahead and pull that out. And then take the circle and pinch it between your fingers and pull that knot tight on that magic circle using your hook to help you with it. Go ahead and place the loop, pull this on it, pull this so that the loop tightens onto your hook, and we'll get ready to start. So before we begin, let's take the yarn and work it around our fingers to help us get the proper tension that we'll need. You'll notice that I've placed it between my ring finger and my little finger, and I'm wrapping it, bringing it towards me, and going over 3 fingers and coming out between my pointer finger and my second finger. Then I'm going to take my left hand and twist it back so that my fingers are showing up top. The tension can be controlled with your little finger. It's not something where your muscles will get tired, but it's something that you can help control as the yarn is being pulled through here. Up here, we have our working area. It's called the working area because this is where we will pull all our yarn from. The working yarn is the yarn that is coming from our skein. So let's begin the stitches that we need to build up in height so that we can create the pattern for our granny. With your finger on top of your loop, take your hook and go around inside the working area and pull it through. This is a chain stitch. We need to make 3 of these to go up to the height we need. So place your finger on top of the loop, wrap it around, and notice how the hook is pulling that yarn through and let it come through. You'll also notice that as we do this, I'm twisting my hook. If you keep your hook up where you can see the upper part right here, it will get caught on your loop. So when you bring it through, you want to twist it down so it won't get caught. Let's do one more. Wrap it around and pull it through that loop. We now have 3 complete chains on our hook, and the reason why I can tell is because this one is complete, this one is complete, and so is this one. The one that is on your hook is not complete, so that is not considered part of the chain. So to make our granny, we use double crochet stitches. To make a double crochet, place your finger on top of the loop on your hook, take your hook and wrap it around the yarn in the working area. Bring your hook down through the center, come up from behind, twist that hook just a little bit, and pull up the yarn so that it comes forward, and then you'll have a loop on your hook. Here we have 3 loops on our hook. So we're going to take our hook and go back into the working area and pull it through 2 loops. And now we have 2 loops on the hook, and wrap it around again and pull it through those 2 loops on the hook. This creates 1 double crochet. The chain 3 that we have here, since it's the same height, will be a pretend double crochet. It's not a real double crochet, it's just taking up the same size as a double crochet would. So let's make 1 more double crochet. Place your finger on the loop on the hook, wrap it around in the work area, bring the top of the hook into the center of the circle, go back behind to the work area and pull up a loop. You now have 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over in the working area, make sure your hook is aiming down, and go through just the 2 loops on the hook. You now have 2 loops on the hook because you created one from the working yarn. So let's wrap it around the yarn over again and pull through those 2. You now have a total of 3 double crochets on your hook, remembering that the chain 3 is a pretend double crochet. moving on with our center part of our granny, we need to create 2 chain stitches. This will separate this group from the next group that we're going to create. So place your finger on your loop, wrap your yarn around, and pull that hook right through the loop as you let go. Let's do it one more time. And there we have 2 completed chains. Now, moving on, we're going to make 3 total complete double crochets this time. So with your finger on your loop, on your hook, yarn over in your work area, take the top of your hook and go through the center, go to the working area and pull up a loop, yarn over, go through 2, and yarn over and go through 2. Let's do another one. Yarn over, go through the center of the circle, come back, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2. One more time. Finger on the loop, yarn over, hook through the center of the circle, go back to the work area, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. You now have 3 double crochets on that you've added on to your magic circle. In this group, we've completed now 2 of them. Group 1, group 2. Later, I'll call them grannies, but for right now, they're groups. So let's chain 2, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. Okay? We're going to add 2 more groups to our magic circle. All of these stitches that we're doing here for this row will be double crochet. So let's do this again. Finger on the loop, yarn over, go through the center, come back, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. I'm going to speed up the process just a little bit because I think that you can do this. Finger on the loop, yarn over, through the circle, pull up a loop, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. How are you doing? Don't get frustrated with it. Okay, one more double crochet. You'll notice this time I'm not saying anything. Alright, we now have 3 groups of 3 double crochets in each group. Now we have one more group to do. We're going to chain 2, 1, 2. Okay, now if your tail has twisted around, go ahead, and it's okay. At any time you need to pull your tail out because it's twisting around, you need to do that. So we got one more group of double crochets to do. So let's yarn over. We're going to go through that circle, yarn over, through 2, yarn over through 2. Okay, I'm not going to say what to do for these next 2 double crochets. I would like for you to try them on your own. Okay, I've completed mine. It's not a race. I'm not going fast. Here's 1 group, 2 groups, 3 groups, and 4 groups. In other words, we have 4 grannies with a chain 2 between each granny. Okay. Now I did not chain 2 at the end because we're going to go up when we close our granny. So do not chain 2 after your 4th group. So let's move on. We're going to tighten our magic circle. Now you can leave your hook in your hand, or you can make a loop and set your hook down. Either way, it's okay. I'm going to take the 4th group and I'm going to pinch my fingers to the base of them, and I'm going to take the tail and I'm going to pull. Okay, I have a little circle. I'm going to pull again, but I'm not going to pull it so tight that the yarn could possibly break. I'm just going to pull it snug. And here we have the 4 groups, which are actually 4 grannies. I've inserted my hook and I've tightened my working yarn. On the back you'll notice that we have our tail. Do not cut your tail. I will show you what to do after we complete the next row. So in the meanwhile, you can just have it on the back side coming towards you and just let it drop. So in order for us to complete this row, we need to create a stitch that'll come across into the top of the chain 3. Now before we do that, we want to find where our chain 3 is at. We have our 1 chain, our 2 chain, and here's our 3rd chain right here. Okay, so take note of where that chain is and go ahead and set the yarn up in your hands. And this time I'm going to show you how to make a half double crochet. It's similar to the double crochet we've been doing, but this is a new stitch that'll help you to learn more stitches with making grannies. So place your finger on the loop, wrap it around your hook. Remember where that top of the 3rd chain was, and go through the center, making sure that you pick up 2 loops of that chain. Yarn over and pull up a loop. You have 3 loops on your hook. Now you're going to go yarn over, make sure your hook is aiming down, and you're going to go through all 3 of those loops on your hook. Now the reason why I suggest that you go through 2 of the chain is because sometimes if you just go through the 1, you can distort the stitch, or you can make it so your stitch is not down here where your work is, but up here somewhere. So sometimes it's always good, depending on your project, to pick up 2 strands. Now that's not always necessary. Some people may show you to pick up 1 strand. That's your choice if you want to pick up 1 or 2. But my suggestion is to pick up 2. So we have completed row 1 with 4 grannies, or what I would call 4 groups as well. Okay, so to get higher into the next level, we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. You'll notice that these spaces that we have here for this row that we've completed are in a corner area. Most corners always get 2 grannies with a chain 2 in between. So that's what we're going to do. We have our chain 3, which counts as a pretend granny. So we're going to yarn over and do a double crochet. We're going to pick up, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. That's one double crochet completed. Let's do one more. Okay, we now have 3 grannies, 2 complete and 1 the pretend because of the chain 3. Okay, now we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and let's slide our work over on that half double crochet that we placed there instead of a chain stitch. And we're going to place 3 double crochets into this stitch. So hold that loop down, wrap the yarn around, go through the space, pick up a loop, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. We need 2 more of those. I've completed my second one, and I've completed my third one. And look who's followed me. I need to pull out more yarn, so I'm going to stop the video for just a second and I'm going to pull some more yarn out. If you need to do that, you do that as well. Okay, so let's chain 2, 1 and 2. Now in this next stitch we need height, so I'm going to show you how to make a treble stitch. In this particular diamond granny tutorial, you will be learning many stitches than you would be as if you were in the other tutorials that I have created. So to make a treble, place your finger on the loop on your hook, and we're going to wrap the yarn twice around. We're going to insert the hook through the space. We're going to come back and draw up a loop. You now have 4 loops on your hook. Yarn over from your work area, go through 2 of the loops. Yarn over, go through 2. And yarn over and go through 2 more. That's why it's called a treble, because we yarn over 3 times and go through 2 loops at a time. Okay, we're going to slide that one down. So let's do it again. Place your finger on top of the loop on your hook, wrap it twice, insert your hook into that space, pull up a loop. 1, 2, 3, 4 loops are on the hook. Yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. Okay, we're going to do another one. 1, 2, wraps on the hook. Hook inside the space, draw up a loop, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. We now have 3 trebles that we've completed in this corner space. Now let's chain 2. 1, 2. Okay, can you see how with the double crochets here, how it's not as tall as the treble is? That's going to allow our diamond to come out and give us height here and be narrow here. So let's do 3 more trebles in the same space. Slide your work over. Okay, finger holding that loop down on your hook, wrap it twice into the space, pull up a loop, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. Okay, you're going to do it 2 more times. I'm not going to tell you what to do. Of course you can watch me, but there we go. It's a little bit more involved than the double crochet, but it's just 1 step extra. Otherwise it's the exact same thing. Okay, so chain 2. For those of you who followed me in the square, you'll notice that it's basically the same as our square. The difference is that we've added these trebles to give the height that we need to make this granny go higher and narrower in the middle. So we're going to go across from our double crochets. So in this space here, we're going to do a double crochet. So finger on the loop, yarn over, in through that space. Okay, we got 3 loops on our hook. Go through 2 and go through 2. Okay, another double crochet, wrap it once, go through the center, pull up a loop, through 2, through 2. Okay, 1 more, slide it over, chain 2, and then 3 more double crochets in that space. 1, 2, 3, chain 2, 1, 2. Okay. The last space that we're going to do is across from our treble, so we want to make this last space a treble as well. With your finger on the hook, wrap it twice in your working area, go through that space, pull up a loop, you'll have 4. Pull through 2, pull through 2, and pull through 2. That's 1 treble completed. Let's do it again. Okay, we went through it 3 times. Wrap it twice. Trebles get wrapped twice. Oh, I guess I should explain something else too. I'm in the United States, so our trebles are different than the trebles that are done in England. A treble in England is like our double crochet, but I don't want to confuse you on that. So I'm doing American terminology when it comes to crochet. So our treble, we got 3 of them done. Let's chain 2, 1, 2, and in that same space we're going to do 3 more trebles. So you wrapped it twice, you pulled up a loop, go through 2, go through 2, go through 2. Alright? I'm not going to tell you what to do on the next 2, so you can go ahead and do those by yourself. There's 1, and there's 2. That gives me a total of 3. Okay? You see how let's see what would be the best way. Yeah, there you go. You see how this is higher than this is wider? So if we were to turn it this way, you can see how it's longer this way. All right, so let's finish this row. We're going to chain 1. I have found through my experience that when you add a slip stitch, it's the same length as your chain stitch. So I'm chaining 1, and at the top of your chain 3, we're going to go through the center and pick up those 2 stitches, pull up a loop, then take that same loop and go through the loop that was on your hook. You've now completed row 2. Let's go ahead and cut our yarn, and we're going to yarn over and pull it through and then tighten it down. Okay, so this is what we have so far for our diamond. Now before we move on to our next color, we're going to go ahead and sew in our magic circle. Now if you want at this time, you can grab your tail and pinch your ends and pull it tighter. Okay, you'll see how mine has gone very small. Do not cut it yet. We're going to weave in these ends. Now to thread your needle, you want to place your yarn between your 4 fingers as I have it here, and then bring the needle up from the bottom and then pinch it over the needle. Take the needle out and you'll notice you have a little bit of folded yarn here. Go ahead and take that folded yarn and work it through the eye of your needle. The reason why I suggest doing that is because when you have your cut end and you try to squeeze it through, you see how your ends open up? Okay, that'll cause frayed ends. And if you try to get it in there and you only grab a couple of them, it'll cause your yarn to become distorted. So it's always best to fold it over and go that method. So let's go through the center of each one of our grannies that's in the center. And we want to go around it once for sure. You can go around it twice if you want, but go through each one of these one more time, and that'll give it a guarantee that hopefully it won't break ever in the future. Okay, and I'm trying to do 2 grannies at one time. Shame on me. Just do 1 granny at a time. Don't stress yourself out. All right. Once I got it around again, I can tighten it even more. We have a nice circle. My granny is not so tight that it's placing too much stress and tension on it. So if you want, you can go around it one more time. After you do that, I'm going to show you, you want to go backwards. You want to go counterclockwise. So here I got one yarn right there. I'm going to go over the top of that one, and I'm going to go back. There we go. Okay, then I'm going to go back clockwise direction. I'm going to go over that 1 yarn and weave it through again. Okay, now that will hold it. It ain't going nowhere. That's how I pulled it out just a little bit. And now we can go ahead and cut the yarn. And that's how you take care of your magic circle. It gives it a nice tight finish, and it looks good. All right, let's move on to our next color. I'm using yellow. So remember to pull some yarn out and get ready with a tail, and I'll see you in a second. So when adding any stitch to go with the new color, we want to use what's called a slip knot. So after I've got my 8-inch tail here, I'm going to show you how to do a slip knot. You can wrap it around your finger the same as you did your magic circle. Now if you want, you can take that loop and loosen it up just a little bit, and then take the loop that we created behind, take your hook, pull it up, and then take your finger out of that loop, and then just tighten it up. And then we're going to make it snug on the hook, but still where you can move it. Now with your tail, bring it down in front of you, and then with your working yarn, go ahead and wrap it on your hand. Now we can start anywhere in a corner. Now if this looks confusing to you, our corner is where our double grannies are at, okay, or our two groups. This is a corner. This is a corner, but it's technically the side of our diamond. And here's a corner, okay? So let's start with our treble corner right here. So with your finger, whoops, sorry, I'm out of camera range. With your finger on your loop, go through that open space of your two trebles, okay, the tall stitches, those are your trebles, and draw up a loop. And then take that loop and go through the loop that was on your hook. And then let's tighten everything up. And if you have to readjust your yarn on your hand, then do that too. Okay? Then we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to slide these guys over. I'm right-handed, so I'm sliding mine to the right. Okay? Now we're going to do, just like we did here, we're going to do 3 trebles, chain 2, 3 trebles. Now do you remember how many wraps the trebles get? That's right, it gets 2 wraps. So 1 and 2. Sometimes with a different color, when you're used to doing it with another color, can kind of mess you up. So that's, I wanted to show you that. Okay, so we went over, I went through 2, yarn over through 2, and yarn over through 2. Okay, let's slide that one over. Alright, one more treble. And this will give us our first granny treble set of 3. Okay, our chain 3 counts as our treble as well. Now we're going to chain 2, 1, 2. In this next, in the same space, we're going to do another set of trebles. I have 2, and here's number 3. Chain 2, 1, 2. Okay. Now, you'll notice that we have another space here before we get to our corner. This is where our increase will be, and this is what will help make our diamond become even bigger. In this space right here, we're going to place 3 double crochets. We're going down in height because we want to keep the center here narrow while the top will get longer. So in this space right here, place 3 double crochets. You only wrap it once for a double crochet. There's 1, there's 2, and there's 3. Chain 2, 1, 2. Now here we are at our corner of our double crochets for our diamond. we're going to place 2 grannies or 2 groups of 3 double crochets each with a chain 2 in the middle. So place your finger on the loop, wrap it around into the space, pull up a loop, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. We completed 1 double crochet. Let's do 2 more. 1, 2, chain 2, 1, 2. Let's slide it over so we can have enough room for our second granny. Okay, here's 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, and 3 double crochets. Okay, can you kind of see the diamond effect coming out of it? Guess my fingers are in the way. We'll see it when we're almost done. All right, chain 2. Now, as before, we have a space between our double crochet and our treble. What goes in this space right here? That's right, the double crochet granny. So let's place 3 double crochets in this space. There's 1, there's 2, and there's 3. Chain 2. All right. Now, what we have done was through this one section was enough to get you started so that you can do this part by yourself. All right. Remember to chain 2. In this space between our trebles, we're going to do 2 sets of trebles with a chain 2. After you do those 2 sets of trebles, you want to chain 2, and then in this one space you'll do 3 double crochets, chain 2, and in this corner of double crochets with the 2 grannies, you want to do 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, and in this last set you're going to do 3 double crochets. After you do that last set, do not chain 2. I'll tell you what to do next because we're going to go up a row. So continue around and I'll meet you right here after you finish that. You might want to pause the video while you're doing that. So, does your diamond look like mine? I'm sure it does. Okay, let's continue on and complete this row. Now remember I told you not to chain 2, okay, because we're going to build up. So we're going to place our finger on our loop on the hook and we're going to do a half double crochet. Remember we did that down here after our first row. So yarn over, we're going to find the top of chain 3, insert our hook into the center of that chain, pull up a loop, and then yarn over and go through all 3 on the loop. Okay, and that completes that row 1, 2, and that was row 3. Okay, so to build up, we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, now over this half double crochet, we're going to add 2 double crochets. I'm getting my halves and my holes mixed up. Sorry about that. So we got 2 double crochets that we're adding to that space. Okay, so there we go. All right, Why did we add that? Well, because if we add a treble, that gives us height, and we're trying to keep the diamond slender. The height will be at the treble for the height, because a treble is higher in length than a double crochet. So let's chain 2, 1, 2. Now in our chain 2 space of our corner for the treble, we're going to place the 3 trebles, chain 2, and 3 trebles. I'm going to stop the camera and I'm going to go ahead and let you do that by yourself. Now if you choose to move ahead to these other ones, that's quite all right. You'll do 3 double crochets here, chain 2, and 3 double crochets here. This is our increase. And then in this corner we'll do 2 grannies with chain 2 in between. So go ahead and do that, and I'll meet you at this corner right here for the double crochets. Alright, I got carried away. Alrighty, so did you do like I did? We got our 2 trebles in our corner space. We chain 2. Also we chain 2 between our 2 trebles. And then after we chain 2, we did 3 double crochets in our first space, chain 2, 3 double crochets in our second space, chain 2, and then in our double corner we place 3, chain 2, and 3 all in the same space. As we continued around, we chain 2, 3 in that single space, chain 2, 3 in that single space. I believe you got this down pat, don't you? Well, we have one more row to go. So go ahead and continue on. This is our trebles. Okay, and I'll meet you after you've completed this one right here, and I'll show you how to finish this row so we can add on our next color. Alright, to finish this row, we're going to do is like we did on the white. We're going to chain 1 and then count up to the top of that chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and in the center pick up those 2 stitches. Do a slip stitch by pulling up a loop and then taking that same loop and go through the loop that was on your hook. Go ahead and cut with a tail and pull that piece through and tighten it down. Okay, I'm going to stretch this a little, and here we have our diamond shape. Okay, we got one more row, and then we'll be completed with this tutorial on how to make a diamond. So let's get out your next color. I'm using green. Alright, let's place a slip knot on our hook. Make sure we have a good sized tail, and sometimes I just wing it. Whatever gets you a slip knot, right? I had to add some humor. Okay, bring the tail towards you. Take your working yarn, wrap it around your finger. Okay, and choose any corner. If you choose the double crochet, you're going to start with double crochets. If you choose the treble, you're going to start with trebles. So, since I started with trebles last time, let's start with double crochets. I know, I gave you an option and yet I chose something different, huh? Okay, so place your finger, on that loop and into the space. Pull up a loop and then take that loop and go through the loop that was on your hook. Okay, and then tighten your work. Chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And since we're in the double crochet side, we're going to make 2 double crochets because our chain 3 counts as a double crochet. Alright, chain 2, and then 3 double crochets in the same space. There's 1, 2, and 3. Chain 2. Alright. Now this time, on this row, you see we have 3 spaces before our 2 corners, the treble and the double crochet. 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet, chain 2. Okay? And then of course when you get to your trebles, you want 2 trebles, chain 2 in between them, 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, chain 2, and in this corner with the 2 double crochets you'll place 2 double crochets with a chain 2 in between them. So go ahead and go all the way around. I'll meet you at the end, and congratulations, you're doing great. Alright, here we are at the end of the row. Chain 1. I'm sure you probably all beat me to it. Count up the top of your chain 3, and let's slip stitch this guy closed. Oh, parting is such sweet sorrow. Here we go. Here's our diamond. You look at it, it looks like a stretched out square, huh? But I hope you learned something from this one. This particular granny had more stitches than the other ones we've done in our tutorial, and I hope you've had a chance to review or practice some of the other grannies that I've created for this series. My plan is in the future to create something with these blocks. Now in this particular one, the granny, you can make it go bigger. Just keep adding around and around, noting that in between here you will be getting more. Like here we had 1, then we had 2, and then here we got 3, so we'll have 4, 5, and so on. And yeah, it's great. So thank you so much for watching. Oh, let me go back. Don't forget, weave in your ends. I like to try and weave them in at a corner. Now if we have this one here, sometimes you can work it down and work it across and work it in on the corner. So weave in your ends. Nobody likes to see sloppy work, not even me. So thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you spending time with me. Enjoy your crochet, and I hope to see you again in another video that I have to offer for a project that you might be interested in with crochet. Have a great day.